Good morning, students. This is Mr. Maloney, and today we're going to be talking about bullying. I know many of you have heard the term bullying before, but bullying is prevalent everywhere, and some of the statistics that you're going to see are actually alarming. So what I wanted to do is go over bullying with you today, uh, what it looks like, what you can do about it, what you should do about it if you see somebody getting bullied or you in fact are getting bullied yourself. I did create a survey, and I'm going to distribute that survey after the bullying overview, so you have a good thorough understanding of what bullying is and how to answer the questions on the survey. A lot of the source for this information was from the New York State DASA Act. That's the Dignity for All Students Act. And when I went to school, we didn't have things like DASA or No Child Left Behind or any anti-bullying legislation or laws. So believe it or not, this is very beneficial to you, the students. Okay, so again, I'm going to do the bullying survey, I think, after the presentation. And remember, this is an anonymous survey, and please answer it to the best of your ability. One of the most important things is the interaction between the students when we do complete this overview of bullying. We will have open discussions on it, and the reason why I'm doing it in this fashion is so I can show it over and over again. I can even play it when substitutes are here just as a refresher for you, and since this is a technology class, it's always good to use technology. So why are we discussing bullying? Again, this is so prevalent in all the schools, and bullying is evolving and changing over the years. It is much more different than when I went to school. Some of the basics are still the same, and we'll go over the definition of bullying. But there's new things like cyberbullying out there, eating disorders that are all tied back to bullying. So this is going to be an ongoing battle with students with bullying. Unfortunately, I believe there will always be bullying, but we can do our best to minimize the impact of bullying on students. So what is bullying? This is a general statement. Bullying is when someone repeatedly and on purpose says or does harmful things to hurt another person who has a hard time defending themselves. Usually there's an imbalance of power. What that means is somebody is bigger than the other person, or it could even happen believe it or not, bullying even happens in the workplace where somebody's boss is making their employee life miserable. An imbalance of power is usually repeated and is often intentional. Okay, and there's a big difference between bullying and teasing, which we're going to go over. So what is the Dignity Act? Dignity for All Students Act is a policy adopted by New York State, and it's enforced by all schools, that all public schools are free of discrimination and harassment. And this implies to everybody. You'll see a little bit more on this. No student shall be subject to harassment, discrimination, or bullying by employees or students. It's very important to note. Employees can't bully other employees, employees can't bully students, and students can't bully students. And then once in a while, believe it or not, you have students bullying employees. All of this is against the new DASA Act. And why students engage in bullying, as I mentioned, it's an imbalance of power. Children usually bully others to gain control over them. The intent is to cause harm, and it usually happens more than once. So again, we're going to have a lot of interaction with this after this presentation. If you're being bullied, or maybe you don't even realize you're the bully, these are discussions that we are going to have. So is it bullying or is it just teasing? Is one worse than the other? And here's the definition. Teasing is to provoke or disturb a person or animal through troublesome persistence, petty annoyance. You're just trying to bother the person. Bullying is habitually badger and intimidate others. So you can see bullying is much more than teasing. However, keep in mind, teasing's not liked. The way I like to go through life is treat others the way you would be treated. You know, I always think about my niece and nephew how I want the teachers to talk to my niece and nephew, and that's how I remind myself of how to talk to my students. So keep that in mind, treat people the way you want to be treated, and you'll see you'll have a lot more friends as well. So there's different types of bullying. There's psychological intimidation. There's social and relational bullying as well. Psychological involves threats, intimidation, theft, or destruction of someone's property or work. Social is isolation. You're forming cliques. You're not including everyone. I'm glad to see in my classes, I know there are cliques, but they're not exclusion cliques. Maybe you're better friends with someone, but yeah, if I assign you to work with someone else, you're open to working with that other person. You're not being intentionally mean to them. So I want to thank you for that, and I want to promote that type of behavior in my classrooms. Cyberbullying is a whole new thing out there. Well, not new, but it's a whole new generation of bullying. It's defined as harassment or bullying of any form through electronic communication. And it doesn't necessarily have to happen in the school environment. But if it's linked to the school environment, this is bullying. And as you know, there is a strict no bullying policy as a student code of conduct here. So it's very important that you don't get yourself in trouble cyberbullying. If you don't think it's appropriate to say, then that means it probably is not. Think before you do something. As we discussed before, anything you put out on the internet, whether it's photo, some sort of picture, a saying, something on Facebook, it's there forever, and you do not own it anymore. So be careful what you put out on the internet. And it's different from face-to-face bullying because it can happen 24 hours a day. And here's some types of cyberbullying on the bottom. It's harassment, flaming, cyberstalking, denigration, impersonation, sexting, outing, and trickery. Impersonation is one you cannot act like someone who you're not. Set up a web profile on them. This will get you in a lot of trouble. And again, our goal is to avoid trouble, to have everyone enjoy their school experience. Believe it or not, you'll see some statistics of how many students actually miss school because of bullying. And here's some more use on cyberbullying, sending mean and rude texts, and it could be on computers, it could be on cell phones or other electronic devices. And this is why we're talking about bullying. The statistics on bullying and suicide are alarming. 1/3 of all the deaths from young people are a result of bullying. People attempt 14% of high school students have considered suicide. If you have any suicidal thoughts, you should be talking to your teacher, your parents, your guidance counselors, the principal. Everyone is open and actually mandated that they have to be able to talk to you about this. So please don't keep it to yourself. At least half the suicides in Britain were related to people being bullied. And listen up, girls, this is my class. 10 to 14-year-olds, even higher rate. 30% are bullies or victims of bullying. Kids stay home from school. Can you imagine missing a class because you were afraid of a bully? I know that used to happen when I was growing up, but again, you have all these laws and legislation now to help you out with bullying. Bullying typically takes place during school hours where the unstructured activities such as the hallway, resource, bathroom. I'm not going to say my independent work time is unstructured, but that's when bullying used to happen in shop classes back in the day. Boys tend to bully with physical behaviors while girls use words. And sometimes words could be even meaner than a physical altercation. So girls, please, please remember what you say can hurt somebody. The victims of bullies often tend to be younger. So that's another thing it's an imbalance of power. Usually, obviously, a younger child is smaller. So that's another thing you need to watch out for. When victims are bullied, they are most likely to keep the incident to themselves. They don't feel they could trust anybody. But I'm telling you, these teachers in this school, the counselors in the school, the therapists in the school can be trusted, and they are mandated to help you with this. Don't keep it to yourself. Elementary and middle school, which is where you're at, middle school is when you're most likely to get bullied. It does slow down in high school, but it still continues. So I'm just going over these facts so that you're aware of them. most bullying happens behind what I call closed doors, where where teachers and parents are not, where adults are not present. So, again, if an adult doesn't see it, they can't help you with it. That's why you have to tell them about it. Uh, Students are often advised to work it out when they feel they're being bullied, and that's not the right answer. Uh, you need to make sure when you report it that there's follow-up. So I have an open door policy. I told you anytime you're having problems, come see me. And whether you told it to me or told it to someone else, we can follow up on it. This is to be taken seriously. Uh, and believe it or not, if you're watching someone get bullied, it impacts you, okay? Studies show that all three participants, the bullies, the victims, and bystanders, are all affected by bullying. The passive role, if you're watching someone get bullied, it can lead you to a sense of powerlessness, fear of being victimized, anxiety. What if they come after you next? So even if you see someone who's bullying, report it so the other person can get help if they're afraid to report it themselves. In terms of social skills, children have which of the following who get bullied. Many bullies, believe it or not, are smart and have social intelligence, particularly during the middle school years. Some bullies are actually quite popular and they think that they're cool by doing this. And then the classmates try and imitate them, which, again, don't imitate anyone who's doing this. And children who often are bullied report the following symptoms. They miss school, and they have a fear of going to school, so very often they won't participate in things, and it's not fair. So what should you do if you're being bullied? What should you do? What should a student do if they think they're being bullied? And again, this is going to be part of the survey. What should a student do if they think they see someone getting bullied? What should a student do if they think they're being bullied by another student? This is all in the survey. This survey is anonymous. I want you to answer it honestly. Don't worry about it. And there is so much information about bullying out there. It's almost endless. And again, this is going to be an ongoing battle. I am going to petition the administration here that this is given and taught in every class, and that also it's reviewed periodically in general assemblies, maybe even things like before you're going to school functions. You have to sign off that you did the bully awareness and prevention seminars. So these are all things that we could work on together. I know Family and Consumer Science, many of you make posters for bullying, and there's bullying slips to fill out. It's not enough because, like I said, it is existence. It happens behind closed doors. There's all sorts of applications now out there that students have that can hide their texts from their parents, and their parents don't even realize maybe they're cyberbullying other students. So again, this is going to be a battle, and we're all in it together. We don't want to see anybody bullying because it impacts everybody. Thank you for your time. I will now distribute the surveys, and then we will do a follow-up and have additional discussions on this.